I'm Hannah Croft.
And I'm Ava Truckee, and this is Feed Me Your Stories,
a show about food, pleasure, and community, hosted by two best friends who don't have inside voices.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Feed Me Your Stories. This week we have a very special episode. Ava is en route to vacation in Idaho, and so I decided to take this opportunity to interview my dad, who is a very important part of my food stories. So should be interesting to see where our stories intersect or where we have differing opinions. Should be good. Hi, Dad.
Hello, Hannah.
Hi. How's it going?
It's going fantastic.
Fantastic. That's good to hear. So let's just jump right into it. Tell me something good that you've eaten lately.
Well, I made a really good pizza last night.
Tell us all about
it. Started out with your mother's dough recipe made from Bourdain, which we've discovered is our favorite method for pizza dough.
What is that?
It's, man, I don't know if I could explain it. There's lots of recipes online for making pizza dough from Bourdain, and it's a way to, they make other bread doughs from it in Italy. And it's just kind of a way of starting the dough process.
Okay. Is it like a s'more?
Yeah, it's made with the same ingredients as we make our regular Neapolitan style dough, but it's a little bit different process. And the best source for, if you ever want to look up a recipe for it, is on Vincenzo's Plate, which has become my go-to for Italian recipes. He does, and he's great because he does a lot of videos where he'll watch Gordon Ramsay's bolognese recipe and just destroy it.
That sounds like something you would find very satisfying.
Yeah, and show step by step how wrong Gordon Ramsay's bolognese recipe is. But I learned a lot about, how to make carbonara correctly, and so the biga thing, Mom does the dough, I do the toppings and the baking. And she made a batch of dough yesterday, and last night's pizza had the mushroom conserva on it, and some grilled artichoke hearts, and some balsamic red onion, and arugula, and different cheeses, and no sauce, just some olive oil on the top of the dough.
And that sounds really good.
It was really good. Very good. So that's the most recent thing that I've eaten that was good.
Nice.
So last night.
Yeah. So you're back to being able to cook a little bit more since your knee surgery. How's that? What was it? How was it to not be able to cook for those couple of weeks?
Well, it was hard because, your mom had to do absolutely everything 24/7 for me for a good solid 2 weeks, because I just was in a great deal of pain and pretty hopped up on narcotics, and I couldn't stand for long enough periods of time to try to cook. So just in the last week or so, I've been able to stand up on my newly replaced knee and start cooking and helping out around the house again.
I'm sure that Mom appreciates that.
Man, she was a lifesaver.
I'm sure that you appreciate that too, because if anybody knows you, it's not your strength to be weighted on hand and foot.
I don't mind that so much. It was just, it was hard to they have to be so dependent on someone for sure.
Yeah, totally. Where did your affinity for pizza come from? Because it's like something that I've always kind of like has been a thing pretty solidly for the past like decade.
We didn't start doing like the whole making our own dough and all that. We'd buy pre-made dough at Trader Joe's or Oliver's, and then we started making our own dough. Maybe I think about the time that somebody, one of my friends, Dave Ginocchio, told me about how much better a pizza steel was than a pizza stone in your oven in your kitchen. And that just sort of, that really was a game changer in terms of the quality of pizza that I can reproduce at home. And so that really, and I started, experimenting with different toppings, and we started making our own dough from scratch, shortly after we started using the pizza steel. And so that evolved for a few years. And then last year I got the, this isn't a plug, but the Rockbox pizza oven.
The rival of the Uni.
Made by Gozney, Gozney. He
does get a cut. Rockbox, if you're listening, the producers of this podcast are broke, so sponsor us.
This could be a commercial for Rockbox, because everybody, everywhere I go, I walk into the hardware store and they're selling unis, or I walk into Sur La Table and they're selling unis, and I don't see like Rockbox out there is like in the retail realm other than online. And it's a pretty cool design, but that actually, that thing gets to 850 degrees in no time at all. And I can make a really good quality pizza in 90 minutes. And I honestly, somebody commented the other day on Facebook, and it was a woman whose husband owns a restaurant here in town where they do pizza. She goes, "Wow, you sure eat a lot of pizza." And I said, "Yeah, and I don't have to pay for it." Well, I do. I mean, I pay for the raw goods for it, but having the portable pizza oven really is taken it up another notch in terms of the quality that I can produce at home.
Yeah, and it's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah, it's a nice it turns it into an activity as opposed to like, okay, we're making dinner, it's 1,000 degrees in the house. You can go outside in the same way that like grilling feels like an activity. You can go out and like have cocktails on the patio and make a pizza, and it's, it's fun. It's a little bit more interactive than when you would make pizza in the kitchen and then like bring it to everybody sitting at the table. There's more involvement.
All of that is true. All of that.
So aside from pizza kind of becoming this, decade-long experiment where you've been leveling up over the years, like what's your food story? Where did your affinity or affection for food really start?
Well, I worked in restaurants for so long.
Well, I know that, but the like 5 people who listen to this podcast don't know that.
Well, I worked in restaurants for many years during my young adulthood, and in pretty high quality restaurants. I started doing it sort of like a lot when I was in graduate school, and worked as a server. And the first place was just a a steakhouse, and not a really good one. It was just like a sort of so-so steakhouse in Santa Barbara, and it went bankrupt. And I got a job in a very high-end French restaurant at the El Encanto Hotel in Santa Barbara I want to say it was like 1987 when I started working there. And it was very regimented, continental style service with a maitre d' named Demos Petropoulos, who was from, and the only reason I got hired, I wasn't qualified to work there because it was, the level of service that was provided there was light years ahead of what I had ever had any experience in. Like, we wore white jackets and bow ties and did stuff tableside. And it was very formal, old world style service dictated by Demos, who was born in Athens and moved to Paris when he was 16 years old to work at Maxime's. And at the time, that was probably this, late 60s when he moved to Paris. And Maxime's was like the pinnacle of service and food. It was the place in Paris. And Demos brought all that kind of experience to Santa Barbara, and he was a tyrant. He would watch. One time, you had to preset the table for every course that was coming up so that every guest had the exact right tableware for the next course. And one time I didn't put down a pasta spoon for a 6-year-old kid that ordered pasta. And Demos, veins were popping out of his forehead because he goes, "You did not put a pasta spoon position whatever on table 24. And I was like, it's a 6-year-old kid. A 6-year-old kid doesn't use a pasta spoon. And he goes, "The pasta spoon is not a tool. It is a symbol that you are anticipating what is happening in this restaurant." So anyway.
So you got started in food in a very upscale, kind of snooty way.
Well, I worked my very first job with an actual paycheck was as a busboy when I was 15 years old at Harris Ranch Restaurant in Coalinga, California.
Could you smell the cows from there? When you drive past Harris Ranch, it is the grossest thing.
It was the Harris family that owned this restaurant, and it's a very famous restaurant because it's so busy, and it is like no other place on the freeway in California.
That's for sure.
And so, but I didn't care about food then, it wasn't until I was in college, in grad school, that I started watching the chefs and their technique and what they actually did to produce something that was beyond just sustenance.
What was food like growing up?
My mom hated to cook.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite stories about Nana is was it when Mom met her for the first time that she explained that her dream house didn't have a kitchen?
Yes. Yeah, it was. She said, "Oh my, we met my parents at the Mid-State Fair in Paso Robles. That's where Mom met my mom and dad. And we were walking through, the exhibits thing. And my dad said something to my mom about, something that was on display. And he said, "Oh, you can have one of those in your dream house." And my mom said back to him, "Oh, my dream house won't have a kitchen." And I never really, I never really realized that she hated to cook. I mean, she always put a decent meal on the table, but she really, I guess, didn't really take much joy in it.